Right, everybody. So if you're watching the video, that means you feel confident to go ahead and move on at your own pace. So let's start by opening Photoshop and creating a new document. Now, this document we're not planning to print. If we were planning to print it, we would need to increase our resolution, something that we'll talk about over and over again. But because we will just be viewing this on the screen and most monitors do not have the capability to show more than 72 pixels per inch, we will set our resolution to that. So over here, we've got a place where we can customize our resolution. We're going to set it to 72 pixels per inch. The width can be 8.5 by 11. That's fine. Orientation will be landscape, and we will name it Elements and Principles. Okay. The color mode that we're going to use is RGB because we are creating this document again to be viewed on screens. If we were going to print it, then we would choose CMYK color, and we will talk about that more in successive classes. Everything else is fine, so go ahead and click Create. Okay, now we have our canvas here. In Photoshop, this is called a canvas. In Illustrator, it's called an artboard. And we will begin by turning on our rulers. So you can press Command R if you're using a Mac, and I believe it's Control R if you're using a PC. Or you can go to View and then just scroll down to Rulers. Great. Something that's really important with either printed graphics or computer screen viewed graphics is creating a margin or a little space around all of the edges. Otherwise, our words just look a bit crowded. So let's go ahead and set up our margins now. This will be different in every program too. And to do that, we can add some guides. So to add a guide, you just pull from one of the rulers and drag it over to your desired location. I'm going to make mine 1/4 of an inch. Cool. And I'm going to do another one over here. And I'll just go backwards 1/4 of an inch. There we go. Oops, didn't do it. There we go. And from the top, sort of hard to see. There we go. And from the bottom. Okay, very good. So now I have my guides placed, and I know that I won't be putting any text or anything important beyond those blue lines because I want to make sure my readers can read it very easily. Okay, great. The next thing I want to do is add, let's see, I think I'd like to add my title first. So we'll go over here to the toolbar, and then I'm going to click it, and I'm going to actually click and drag a text box within my guides for my margins. And your text box will automatically fill with some sort of Latin script. Right now, you can see the top of your screen which color your text is set to, and mine's set to white because I was designing with a colored background last time. Anyway, now my text is black. I'm going to go ahead and press Delete or Backspace and just type in Elements and Principles of Art and Design. And that actually worked out really, really well. It stretches right across the top and it fits pretty well. So I'm using Arial, bold, 36 points. If I highlight all of my text, and I'll move this text box up, I don't need it that large anymore. Let's try something a little different. So if I use Arial Black, you can see the text gets bigger and it sort of falls off. So you can choose any font. I like to stay sort of simple. And okay, so this is great. I chose this other font, Euthea, and it looks like one of my words disappeared. And it's just because with this font, the letters are bigger and it fell off. So I have to make it, it cut off, it went on to the next line. So I just have to make my text box bigger. And I do like that font, but I really liked the way that everything was fitting well the first go around. Let's do a redo, new guide, redo new type layer. Okay, so I'm just going to change it back to Arial and select this part 2, change that back to Arial, and I believe I had my typeface set to bold. There we go. Okay, so in design, when we're talking about fonts, my font is Arial 36 points bold. My typeface is Arial. I could still be using the same typeface if I had this in italics or if I had it in a smaller size. So typeface refers to sort of like a font family, and the font family would be Arial. Font, something becomes a font, text becomes a font when it has a specific characteristic, if it's regular, italic, bold, and when it is assigned a size. Okay, that was a lot. All right, so now I would like to go ahead and add a beautiful image. I'm going to use my frame tool and just stretch it across, and I'm actually going to go beyond my guides because I want this to cover the whole thing. There we go. And I don't have a photo in mind yet, so I'm going to go to Pexel.com is a free website for stock photos, and I'm just going to type in art and let's see what comes up. Oh, I like the pencils. The paint is nice too. Let's see, what will I choose? What would look nice there? I think I like the pencils. Okay, cool. It's free to use. I click on info. No attribution required, which means I don't have to give any credit for it. So I can just click free download. It's going to download immediately. And then I can go to File, Place Embedded. My frame is still selected. Go to Downloads, and there are my pencils. Cool. All right. Press return. I'm going to go to my mover tool. Let's see. Looks like if I double click this blue, the royal blue frame is showing me the size of the overall picture, and the gray box is showing me the size of my frame. So I'm going to drag that down a little bit, and I'm going to actually make my frame a little bit bigger too. Cool. That's great. And now I'm going to let's see. I would like to move this behind the text because right now it's covering up the text. So I'm just going to, over in my layers panel, click and drag it below the text layer, and now you can see elements and principles of art and design. But it's sort of competing with the word, so I'm going to bring the opacity down kind of significantly. And what I would really like to do is flip this. But there we go. I need to get it where I pressed Command T, so it's in transform mode. It's got that blue bounding box, and there are these little brackets all around it for resizing. If I right click when it's in this mode, I can flip it vertically or horizontally. Actually, that's kind of pretty. I like the line that it creates. But let's see. So flip vertical. Cool. This is what I want. So now the pencils are pointing down towards the content, which is cool. We've talked about leading lines a little bit, and I think this is a good example of the images directing our eye down towards the content. Okay, it's still a little bit too bright, so I'm going to fade it back a little bit more. And I think I'm actually going to change the color of my type now too, because why aren't you letting me in? There we go. It just doesn't have the same power as it did before I added those pictures. Let's see, so what if I use a color from there, make it darker? No, I don't like that. Okay, fine. So you can play around with that all you want. Okay, I'm going to select my background layer, and I'm going to change the color of it because I don't like this divide between the top and the bottom. There are a lot of instances where that can come in handy, but for right now, I'm just going to select my paint bucket tool, which is under my eyedropper, and color this whole bottom. Now I can change my paint swatch by double clicking on my foreground color over here and using that eyedropper tool to select. And let's try that again. Let's put the tolerance up to 100, see if that helps. Why aren't you filling all the way? Mode normal. Opacity is 100%. Okay, let's do this again. Sometimes the color changes ever so slightly. And I could keep playing around with this for a while. If I just bring it down a little bit. There we go. Okay, great. So I'd like to go ahead and add one more text area. You can stretch it out. And we're going to keep this pretty simple. So choose any other color. Maybe we'll stick with using a color from in the design, and I think I'll work with complementary colors here. So since I used that green, I think I'll go with sort of like an orangey red next time. And I'm going to copy and paste this massive, actually I don't need all of these. I guess I will just type each one out. I've got space, line, color. So space, line, color. Shape, size, texture, value. And now I've got another text layer because I clicked again. And that will keep happening in an annoying way. There we go. Space, color, space, line, color, shape, size, texture. Am I forgetting one now? Value. Okay, lovely. All right, so now I've got this text box down here, and I've got it selected in my layers panel, so I'm just using the arrow keys to move it around. And it's behind this top shape, which is why it looked like it had a fade going through it. So if I move this above the picture, now I can see everything. Cool. So I like that I can read everything. I like the colors. I don't like that these two things have the same level of importance. So the elements and principles of art and design are not really standing out very much against this. So something I can do is I could make this bigger, right? I could make this look more important by holding down Shift and resizing it this way. Suddenly it has a little bit more weight, right? We talked about visual weight. But I don't want it to exceed my margin, so that's a little too much. There we go. I could lighten up this one. So maybe make it a little less opaque. There we go. All right, and let's just do one more. So we've got our elements, space, line, color, shape, size, texture, and value. And then let's add the principles down here. And I want to stay in the same theme, but I think I will make it, And you can see we got a little preview going over here. Okay. So then let's see, we'll delete that text and go ahead and add the principles. So we've got focal point, contrast, balance, pattern, and unity. Okay, lovely. All right, and you can see I've got my smart guides turned on, so the pink lines are popping up to show me that everything is centered, which is really cool. Great. So this is still bothering me. I think the pencils are still sort of getting in the way. So what if I move this down here? And that's giving more space to read. And then I can move these down like that. So you can see you can keep playing with your design for a while. It would be nice to add some illustrations or photographs of each of these, or to add some more information. But I think this is where we will stop for today. So once you've gotten this far, why don't you go ahead and save. So we'll go to File, Save, Save on your computer. Keep it saved as a Photoshop document for right now. And you can save it to your desktop, or if you have a documents folder for any of your schoolwork, any of your classes, or for this class, that would be great. I'm going to save mine to Foundations, and it's called Elements and Principles, and I'm going to add on Posters so I know what it is for next time. Great. Click Save, press OK, and then next time we will play around with it some more and add some more information to it. All right.